Okay, we're rolling.
Can't go back now.
Can't do it now.
It's happening. It's all happening.
Aaron. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Danny. How are you?
Is it? Yeah, it's morning. How's it going?
It's going great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Got your coffee?
You know why, right?
No, I don't.
Because it's time for a recap.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
Oh, I love your jingle.
Well,
it's so good.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Somebody's
funny.
Gotta love it.
I was listening to our own podcast because we QC it, right?
Yes.
Not because I'm a huge fan of our own work, but we QC it. I realized that our jingle at the beginning is, I thought of it as being temporary. Because we just wanted to get this podcast going, or like, let's just record, let's just do it. And then we came up with that jingle, and it was a placeholder, and it's on like 20 episodes now. So
yeah, it's pretty much.
I think it's the official. I think it's the official jingle now.
It is. It's yeah.
Should we just make it
jingle?
Should we put the stamp on it right now?
Well, what I like about it personally is that I just started singing and you joined in. You know, like it's your little do 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 do.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's what really yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Nose flute, or I don't know what they call it. Did you send me something just now? I don't think I got it. Yeah.
No, I didn't. I can send you the notes for this episode if you'd like.
Yeah. Oh, well, I wasn't going to say what it was that you were sending me.
I mean,
because it's super interesting.
I'm all about like letting people know how the sauce is made.
I need a couple more devices in front of me. This is not enough.
You got a lot going on here. I have my phone, and you have a phone and a computer.
It's a piece of paper that keeps changing on me. It's a digital piece of paper.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Smith just got an iPhone.
I mean,
there's nothing wrong with an Android.
I went back. It really isn't.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. You were so anti-iPhone, and then you got one, and I was really surprised that you got one.
I was just tired of the thing not working, you know.
How's it working?
Well, you know, today we're talking about, we have the privilege of talking about some of these awesome episodes that we got to record.
Yeah. And
it was fun because the first one, A Flare of Coiled Colors, Christina Lechuga's episode, it was our first Zoom episode, and we were really nervous about that because we didn't want any issues, and we didn't want to interrupt her interview because of, you know, technical problems or whatever.
Yeah, like iPhones.
Yeah, like iPhones. But no, it went really well. I mean, you are the technical genius that makes all this work smoothly somehow.
Well, the tools get really easy to use these days.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot more, like, you know, error messages and stuff in the
bing.
past. You remember all the error messages?
I thought you meant like
general.
I thought you were talking about notifications during a Zoom interview.
No.
Which happens?
You know, just the beach ball was way more frequent. The
beach ball.
the
wheel of
green,
death.
the gray screen. Do you ever have the gray screen of death where it just kind of like, and it's all the different languages? The Rosetta Stone screen. That kind of.
I thought it was there's a word for that.
Kernel error.
Kernel error. Yeah.
So many different things. Yeah. Kernel, not colonel error, but kernel error.
I actually thought it was KER.
Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying.
It's
not
I
see. Yeah. But anyway, kernel. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Must be like the thing.
The kernel, like if you had a kernel in your teeth.
Right.
It'd be really annoying. It could really mess you up.
And that's where it all grows from there.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a good time. This is a good time to remind everyone to go to your dentist every 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a cleaning and potential kernel. That could lead to a really bad infection. My dad had a popcorn kernel stuck in his tooth once for a long time, and I think he it was really expensive. So I think he flew to Mexico to get a cheaper
wow.
You know,
no,
thing done. That's another topic about our medical industry. But
medical
we
tourism.
won't get into that.
Whatever.
But we do need to talk about 3 episodes today. Christina Lechuga, A Flare of Coiled Colors. Tyler Dubrow, Striking a Beeline. Matt Hutchins, Training with the Right Stuff.
That's right.
So
3 episodes.
If you're listening to this recap and you haven't listened to either one of those, go back and check them out. They're all very good.
Those are the episodes that we'll be talking about, and you should definitely go check them out because they are very interesting. Christina talks about her Walkie Woogies.
Yeah.
And Walkie Woogies being I think like the kind of the standard brand now, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody expects to find like, 1 or 2 brands that you're kind of like, oh yeah, I know what it is. And that's like the go-to one.
Yeah.
But it's also cool because it's like it's a piece of equipment you have to use. It's always there. Everybody's got it. We need this. It's like a t-shirt. Like you got to have something on your back, right?
Yeah. The headset is probably the most common tool amongst everyone, and if you don't have one, you're kind of in trouble.
Yeah, it's a standard requirement. Maybe that's something we could talk about a little bit. Just the idea that, like, I remember when I started out, it was a big deal. It was like, you need one of these. You just, you already needed it yesterday. Go get it.
Yeah.
And I bought one that was a little more than I wanted to spend on it, but it was like well made and all this. And then there were like so many different brands, and it was actually kind of frustrating because great, the price is coming down, and I bought one and it like broke right away or wasn't working very well, or so like the quality and not even just the build, but like making sure it's the actual one. Like there's so much, okay, we know what the good version looks like, so let's make another one that looks just like the good version.
Right.
Prada bag kind of situation or whatever, and it's not as good. Like you have to know what you're buying,
right? Well, and also
that's what a brand is for, obviously.
Sticking that in your ear for 12 hours a day is something you should really consider. Is this going to be comfortable in my ear?
Yep.
Right. Yep. She talks about,
and am I going to look good doing it?
Right.
Because that's part of it.
It is. I mean, well, if you're going to spend the money and buy the thing and have it part of your life now.
Yeah.
Make it purple or whatever you want.
Yeah.
Why not?
Make it your color.
Yeah.
Right.
She talks about Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
Are you an Adam Sandler fan?
I'm a comedy fan, so like anybody who makes people laugh and is intending to make people laugh, I appreciate it. Adam Sandler wasn't like really my brand of comedy when he started out on SNL, but I feel like 50 First Dates or somewhere around there, I was like, all right, I get it. I like this.
There was a chance.
I just like laughing,
Yeah. So. He's evolved.
Oh yeah.
Multiple times. I think.
Oh yeah.
He did this SNL thing, and then he did Happy Gilmore and Waterboy, and that was all kind of in the same character. And then 50 First Dates, the comedy kind of changed a little bit. Matured,
a little
maybe.
more mature, yeah. It's like, oh wait, is this comedy about something?
Yeah,
that matters?
Yeah, Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Punch Drunk Love is actually
really good.
Really good movie, and really like easy to forget. Like it's easy to forget when you're talking about Wes Anderson,
right?
Or sorry, oh my gosh,
P.T.
Anderson.
Sorry, Paul.
Got the wrong Anderson. Sorry. It's really easy to forget about that movie when you're talking about P.T. Anderson movies.
Right, yeah.
It's easy to forget about that movie when you're talking about Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
It's a good.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Such a good movie.
It is really good. And then my favorite Adam Sandler is Uncut Gems. I may have mentioned this before.
Oh, that's
I've watched it like 6 times.
It's a great one.
It's great.
Yeah.
Not a comedy. Not a comedy at all.
But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, some of my favorite performances are comic actors giving completely dramatic performances, like, oh gosh.
Jim Carrey is another one.
Jim Carrey, thank you. Jim Carrey or...
Can't help you out on this one.
Well,
you're on your own.
Cage or Nicolas Cage. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about Christina, though, because... she was working on an Adam Sandler movie. That's, I think, why we were talking about Adam She works on a lot of cool stuff, knows a lot of people, connects with a lot of people. And part of that episode and what we talk about is the whole like balance of being a professional, working on set, having a job, and then also having your business, which is a totally different thing, even though they intersect. Like they're completely intersected and completely different.
Yeah.
And balancing that is weird.
Yeah,
it's
it is
confusing.
weird. Because you don't want to bring your business to another business and be like, I'm gonna exploit this job that I'm at to sell walkie woogies or whatever it is.
Exactly.
So it is a weird thing. But I mean, she does it pretty good. I think I've seen her do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does mention, I guess I had mentioned to her early on when she made them, and I know a lot of people wanted them. I said, you need to make this a little more accessible than just buying them on set, which is creating a website. And I think at the time I was dabbling with Shopify and realized it's really easy to make an online store.
Yeah.
And she should do the same because, man, shipping a walkie woogie is, throw it in an envelope. It's really it's not expensive. And she's
logistically, it's not that complicated, but then the idea itself, like the concept is great. And I think that's part of why you encourage her, because it's like, oh, well, this is a no-brainer.
You've already done the work. You've already made a product. Like that's hard.
Yeah.
So
you've already identified a need, like, okay, this is a good business. Because I think that's a big part of this whole thing is like, you've got businesses creating needs so they can fill them. And it's like, what? Like we're people, we have needs. Like, if we're working, in any capacity, we need to be able to communicate. We need to be able to be on the same page so that all these different actors can be in sync. And so doing that with radio communication is like kind of like a standard, right? I mean, it's your backs are to each other and you're a football field apart and you're still talking.
Yeah.
I think it's like similar to what we're doing right now, going through with the Zoom and the disconnection of work from home, what have you. Like we're obviously still doing the same things. Like we're still trying to achieve the same goals.
Yeah.
But we're remote in ways that we may appreciate or may not. Who knows? But to reconnect, you need to have that kind of system that we all expect is the same way, And if somebody shows up on set expecting a surveillance to be provided for them,
well, they'll provide it.
Well, sure.
You look like a weirdo.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in a sense, it's like you show up to set and you don't have any shoes on. You're like, well, where are the shoes that you guys are going to issue all of us for today? Yeah. So I think it's just really smart, like as any small business, like Christina and her husband are finding a need, finding a system that is functioning and necessary and needs to be sustainable and sustained, and then finding a way to make it easier for the people who are consumers of that product. Mm-hmm. So it's cool. I like the real nuts and bolts of like finding a way to make your product something you can sell while you're still doing a full-time job.
Yeah.
Like that's just cool. It's like the gig economy thing, but like done right and done well.
Yeah.
Trying to find a way to actually maximize your circle of influence, your connection to community, and also solving product needs.
Right.
But I mean, it seems maybe a little bit like technical, talking about a headset or surveillance or whatever, but it is so important, right? Like, how do we communicate without that? Like, you get on set, and the like jobs that you have to do are immediately developing. You can't like, okay, let's all get around the table together and talk about what we're going to do today.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, that doesn't even happen. No. You're not around the cart talking about your day.
Right. You're right. Call time is like everyone's doing their thing. They know what to do. And then someone chirps in like, "Hey, safety meeting, we're gonna come over here," or like, "We're changing the order of the call sheet, FYI."
Right.
That'd be a mess if you had to do that. Walking around, everybody puts their headset on in the morning. That's like the first thing they do.
Yeah,
because they need to know like what's going on. Exactly. I know I have a call sheet, but I need to hear it. I need to hear the changes that are happening too.
It's almost like you show up, right? Like you get to crew parking and you park, and okay, technically I'm here, but I need to get in a van.
Yeah,
like I can't check out until I get into the van, and then I can go, okay, great. Somebody else is bringing me to where I need to be. In a similar way, it's like you can't check out. You're not there yet until you put the headset on.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I've forgotten to put my headset on.
Yeah. Or your walkie's off, or you're unplugged, or whatever.
Right. And everyone's moving around, and I'm like, why is everybody moving around like this? And I'm like, it's because I'm not in the loop. I'm like, yeah, it's
a real thing.
It is a real thing.
And yeah, I think that is a big part of like working on set, right? Is like, yeah, you got to be there. And I feel like we talked about that in an episode or something. We're talking about like being on time.
Yeah.
Being on time. Being early is being on time. Being on time is being late. Yeah. All that stuff.
Yeah.
But like you show up early, you're there, and you're fully presenting, and you've had your walkie unplugged.
You're not there yet.
You're not there yet.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. That's so funny.
I don't know. That's just my thought. But, yeah. Are we... what else? We talked about...
Oh, let's talk about radio etiquette.
Oh, yes.
Right? Gosh, we all know that person that talks too much.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. It's usually me. No, I'm pretty good on the walkie.
Yeah. No, I am too. I'm like, I deliberately think about what I'm going to say before I hit the button.
Do you hold the button and then talk?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes.
That's something you have to like teach yourself.
That's another one. You're right. That's a big one.
In fact, anybody who hasn't worked with radio headsets yet, like somebody who's just getting started and looking at buying one, one of the key things that you don't realize until you've heard it and you're going, oh my goodness.
Right.
is you have to, and this is for everybody, literally anyone and everyone who would use it. So sometimes people who don't need to be or can't be corrected are making this mistake.
Right.
But if you aren't holding the button down before you're talking, the first thing you say is not being transmitted.
Right.
And that sounds like obvious.
It would sound like this, actually. Keep talking, Aaron.
Oh, it sound like...
It would... No, you keep talking.
Oh, I'll keep talking. Yeah. So it'll sound like this. Like you wouldn't hear all of it. You would only hear parts of what the person is saying. Yeah, that's really annoying.
It's annoying, isn't it?
It is really annoying.
If the whole episode was like this, you would absolutely be driven mad.
Yes. Yeah, it would be pretty maddening. But I think the keying or stepping. No, steppage is another one.
Steppage, yes. That's a tough.
You want to describe what that is?
So, steppage is when it's like, so Aaron's talking on the walkie. He's got the button pressed down, and then I want to chime in with something, and I press the button. We're both pressing the button, and then the radio sounds like. And it's then
that was really good.
It was pretty good. It was a little Donald Duck, but Daffy Duck. Daffy Duck. Donald Duck speaks English. Daffy Duck just speaks.
Oh,
right.
Right. I don't know. No, I think Donald gets angry and he starts doing that too.
You're right. You're right.
Something with
Daffy.
Remember that episode
Daffy
with the bees?
Duck.
Yeah.
Daffy Duck speaks a little more clearly than Donald Duck.
Probably.
That's what it is.
I don't know.
Anyways, that doesn't matter. Wolf. Too bad we can't.
Ducks.
We don't edit this one. So when two people hit the button at the same time, it gargles everything, and then nothing is communicated, and it's incredibly annoying because you're listening in on one person that's like, "Hey, everybody, I've got this really important information that you all want to," and then you have to go. Actually, do you have I have a really simple, deliberate response to when that happens. Do you have one?
Yeah, I unplug my.
You don't
headset. I just unplug it from the radio.
What I meant was I will wait until the thing is done and no one's speaking, and I will clip, and I'll go steppage, go Aaron.
Oh,
so
that's
I'm
a good
giving
idea.
I'm giving one person the task to speak.
Right. Well, and that's part of like how you kind of start to see each other audibly on a walkie, right? Is like you hear certain voices and you go, those three people sound identical. I'm never going to hear the difference between those three people. So you start to listen to the people that you do know who they are and how they speak or whatever. And some people just start talking and you go, oh, well, yeah, let me tune that out. I'm not kidding right now. I'm being real, because some people just start filling the airwaves with information that isn't really information.
Right.
And you quickly go, oh, I should tune this out so that I can do some work.
Right.
Because it's just
chatter. That's hard. That's a hard one.
So that's part of the etiquette, is like, you don't want to fill the radio communication, especially if somebody's like, somebody's literally like got a lens in their arms and they're trying to like get a word in. Like, do we need the lens support or not?
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, I'm ready to run from the cart or whatever, but I don't want to do this twice.
Right. Yeah.
So finish your story about, I don't know, the weekend, and then I can say, do we need the lens support? But I think like keeping your communication short, knowing how much of the information that you're verbalizing is actually information,
Yeah, hey, that's hard, man. That's either I don't know. Either you got it or you don't.
Hey, so guys, the 11-to-1, where is it? It's like, where's the 11-to-1?
Yeah, that's what I mean because I will blabber on and I will stutter, and so I very deliberately will think and then press
and then speak.
Where's the 11-to-1?
Yeah. Well, and like, it sounds super. We're being really like,
we are, but
I don't know.
But
it matters.
After a long day of listening to filler,
right?
At hour 11, you're just like, what do you need?
Right. Yeah. And you start to like get irritated just because somebody's being funny and social.
Yeah.
It's like, it makes sense to have good etiquette on the radio so that you can kind of break that etiquette in other places.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. Yeah.
Like, we're not on the radio, let me tell a joke. Yeah. Or we're on the radio, let me not tell a joke.
Right.
So I think part of it is just recognizing like the different spaces where some communication is okay and some of it should be limited to work.
You know what's funny? Another piece of etiquette is, it's amazing how everybody, we were just talking about this, your headset is like your pair of shoes. You need it for work.
Right.
Everyone has one. But for some reason, you'll almost every day, you'll hear someone, there's an open walkie.
Oh, yeah. Open walkies.
Turn off your open walkie. Plug it in. Or just turn it off. I don't know. Anyways, we're showing our true colors now. We're being a little too cynical.
We're being so mean.
We are being mean.
No, I mean, there's like, there's sets that the communication is so dialed in that it's exciting. You're like, oh, wow, we can do anything. We can do anything.
Right.
And then there's some sets where it's not as important, or it's not being appreciated in the way that it could be.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that it's not functioning and the set isn't great and everybody's happy and everything works. It just means that, people are parking on the line and crooked in the space. Like, yeah, there's a system. You don't have to use it. I mean, it's just, it's good though to have rules, I think, with walkie communication, simply to be like, this is the way we're doing it so that we can be as efficient as possible. The last thing you want is to tell a joke on a walkie and somebody like takes it seriously and does the thing, and then you can't go back. You know,
Yeah.
Well, we only had one of those, and we used it for your joke, or whatever. You know, it happens. So
let's move on to Tyler Dubrow.
Right. Yeah.
Before we do that, can you hand me my water?
Where's your water?
It's on the ground to your left.
Oh yeah.
You see it? Oh, it's closer to me than it was to you. Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
I didn't see it. Sorry. Sorry, everybody.
We just finished talking about Flare of Coiled Colors, but Tyler's episode is called Striking a Beeline, and that one was really fun.
Talking about great.
Bees.
I think it was one of our most changed of scene changes.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Beekeeper? Yeah, come on in. Let's talk. This is going to be weird and fun.
What's funny is
Not weird, but
I worked with Tyler on a show, and he mentions this in the episode, but there were a bunch of bees around on one of the sets.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, well, what do you think, Tyler? I'm like, yeah, this is such a scene change. I knew because he had talked about it. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were just pointing at a random person and be like, what's your thought on this beehive over here?
No, but you're talking about it being so different of a scene change. And it was funny to me to realize how much of these, you can go so different with your scene change, but it still can interact with your life and career in a way that you just didn't see it coming. And here we're on set, and we were talking about bees, and and I'm thinking that, oh yeah, well it's such a different thing outside of filmmaking, and all of a sudden, there's bees everywhere, and we're dealing with it. I mean, life is intersecting with all these different things, it's easy to feel like we're kind of isolated or in our own different places, but the bees are a great reminder that no, it's all these ecosystems are completely connected. The bees are going to connect you even if you don't want to be connected to other people. Your neighbor, you're sharing bees with your neighbor. I'm sorry. Whether you like it or not, you're going to be sharing bees with your neighbor.
Those are my bees, man. Stay away from my bees. What did we talk about with Tyler? Because I wrote this down.
We talked about utility. He's a utility,
right?
And, so we talked about. You're talking about on set?
No, I was speaking specifically about his scene change, and he's talking about his dad. His dad is a second.
Yeah,
and his dad had gone through strikes before, and Tyler was ready for a strike. He had that mentality already. Yeah, this is part of it, and you got to be ready for this. He didn't. I'm sure he had a hard time, just like everybody else did during the strike. But I think he probably set money aside in a very responsible way. Sounded like, and then found this little side hustle that he did, working for Jimmy Jensen, right? Jimmy Jensen is the owner of Bill's Bees.
All right.
Who is a camera assistant.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until I listened to the episode again. I was like, did he say Jimmy Jensen? Because we know Jimmy Jensen.
Yeah. We just didn't realize that.
We just thought Bill's Bees was Bill.
Yeah.
I don't know any Bills. So when he said Jimmy Jensen, I was like, wait a second. There's another scene. There's so many beekeepers.
Well, there need to be. Because
nice.
Yeah, thanks. Because you have so many bees that need to be kept.
I can't unhear it. They need to be kept. Oh, this is bad. You're right. No, well, yeah, you're right. It's the only. It's it's the oldest job, right? He mentioned.
Yeah.
Or beekeeper.
Tyler calls it the oldest profession.
Oldest profession, meaning or it has the longest longevity to attach to the work of the beekeeper.
Right. They're the oldest people.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to become a beekeeper until you're 80 years old. I think. No, I'm kidding. And it's also
it must be
oldest profession in the sense that bees have been around longer than beekeepers.
And it probably hasn't changed.
Right.
You can't mass produce honey.
Right.
Yet. I think they're working on it, right?
Well, it's a little bit like mass producing intelligence, Danny. Is it really still the same thing? I don't know.
Oh gosh, let's not go down this.
Well, you can definitely make fake honey and call it real.
Yeah.
But I'd rather bee do it.
Yeah. Nice.
I mean, sorry. I think there's a lot of things going on, changes with honey and how it's synthesized, or I don't know what the term is, how the bees do it.
Trying to make it with humans.
It's dancing, right?
Yeah.
Like dancing makes honey.
Yeah.
You just got to be a bee.
Gosh.
Wow. This is why we talked with Tyler, because we don't know enough about bees to speak very intelligently about it. But he definitely gave me a lot of things to think about, like the spraying for like bamboo.
Yeah.
Being really bad for the bees, and like, man, an invasive species that's causing the bees harm when we try to get rid of it. I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah. We're all invasive. Everything's being invasive of one another, but we're killing the bees that are very important to our ecosystem.
Yeah. And, I don't know. Hopefully we can identify some of those issues and solve them in other ways. But like, because the chemical thing makes no sense.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's put some chemicals in the ground.
It makes sense because it's fast and it's cheap. That's why it makes
exactly.
sense.
I know. And that's what's frustrating.
But it's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
I had an interesting thought about bees and stress management, and you shared your story about being a utility on a show and
being stressed out,
and you pulled the cable too hard, you pulled down the monitors, and bees in especially around a hive, it's a very stressful situation, right?
Yeah.
Bees themselves look like they're stressed out because they're flying around real fast and buzzing. Mm-hmm. And humans stress out over bees because they don't want to get stung. So you have to deliberately calm yourself down,
right,
in order to not be stung, right?
You have to be calm.
You have to be calm. And which is interesting when Tyler mentions that beekeepers live longer.
Yeah.
Because they are...
It's all connected.
Deliberately calming themselves down, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? They're at least in the work capacity, they're the least stressed out amongst, I don't know. Is there another job where you're surrounded by something invasive, or not invasive, but something stressful like a bee stinging you constantly, and you have to just always be in that calm state? It gets easier, obviously, as a beekeeper. A beekeeper is probably just always on as far as being calm. But I just found that interesting that you have this thing that a lot of people think about as chaotic and I'm losing the words.
Razzling and dazzling.
Yeah, and that.
Sorry,
that's. I know, man. You threw me off. No, that's stress.
No, it is. It's a chaotic. It's a chaotic activity.
Yeah,
and it by its nature, right? Like,
yeah,
because they're all independently going. I mean, they're connected, but they're doing their own thing. They're all over the place.
Yeah,
I feel like if you were to, like, to me, I think of ants when I think of bees, because to me, the idea that the ants are all working around under there or whatever, like, it's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And somehow a beekeeper is involved in that, like, you're involving yourself in this colony or with these colonies. Mm-hmm. In a way, in a capacity that isn't the same as, you're not the queen, you're not a bee, you're a guest, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's part of it, is like, you're there to be kind of like a passive, like, observer. You're, like, I can't engage with them. I can't be a part of it. I can't do any of this stuff. Tyler says the bees are the technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a thing that's happening. It's like a quantum computer, and you're going inside the computer as a beekeeper, right? Like you're putting yourself into that chaos.
Yeah.
As a stranger to it, as a necessary stranger to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I guess it makes sense, but it also would be really hard, I think, to stay calm in that. I don't know. I've never done it.
I think it's probably really therapeutic and soothing once you've become accustomed to being calm in that suit.
Yeah.
I bet it's really, I don't know. I'm just pulling the trays out of the thing, and just the dripping of honey. I don't know. It sounds cool. I'm down. I want to try it.
Well, the noise too, the vibration.
Oh yeah, that's right. He does mention that too, actually.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big factor actually that we're just like not able to really think about.
Yeah.
Because, we enjoy concerts or like loud music or whatever, and that vibration, that energy, you feel it in your body. Mm-hmm. I think there's probably an element of that with bees and with the just the electricity.
Yeah,
right.
No, he mentions that. He mentions that, and we asked him like, why are beekeepers living longer? And some people think that it's the frequencies of the sounds that bees are giving off. There's no science to it, but I don't know. There's probably something there.
Yeah, probably. I mean, as soon as we apply the science to it, we're going to start synthesizing it, right?
That's true.
So let it happen. Just let it happen.
I want to clear something up. In that episode, I sound like a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe that 5G cell towers are tapping into our brains or whatever that theory was.
Oh,
I mentioned cell phone towers and bees and came across as.
Well, wireless technologies are going to interact with wireless technologies. I don't think that was anything conspiratorial that you were bringing up.
No, it's just the way I worded it was weird.
Yeah, you did weird that word.
I did.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. No, I feel like there's a lot going on. Like, just because you see the wires also doesn't mean they're not causing problems. Like look at all the power lines just littering our landscape.
Yeah,
we can see all that.
I know.
And that's causing plenty of problems, and nobody cares about those.
There's so much.
Birds getting electrocuted, falling on your car. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was scary.
That was scary. Anyways.
Okay, wait. Let's keep talking about Tyler's episode instead of birds on wires. But I feel like the beekeeping career being a health thing is interesting, and even just like thinking about our careers, our jobs, our scene changes, whatever, and the health component of that, mentally, physically, all of it. Considering intangible, like unquantifiable benefits of something. Whereas there's all these other like negatives of other jobs. Mm-hmm. Like, what is it about beekeeping? I don't know. I feel like we should maybe look for that in other careers too, in other pursuits and passions. Is like the je ne sais quoi is a big part of what makes us motivated to pursue things. So, I'm excited to learn more about bees through Tyler, but I also kind of like feel like I don't know. I don't know anything, man.
I know. Well, I was going to ask you.
I know just enough to get in trouble.
What do you think? What do you think is going to happen when the bees do go extinct?
I don't think they will.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a positive outlook.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping you'd say we're going to build bee robots. Little tiny robots.
I actually think people will go extinct before bees. Just like we were talking about the beekeeping being the oldest profession. Maybe some other species will become beekeepers someday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's my optimism for you.
That's good. Yeah, that is optimistic, actually.
But at the same time, the bees haven't built rocket ships, so they're stuck here.
Not yet. Or, yeah,
I know. We can go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Anyway,
do you believe that we landed on the moon?
I know that the bees haven't. So, yeah, I do think we landed on the moon. Dude.
Yeah, we did. I know. Have bees been in space?
Bees in space.
That sounds like a science experiment for the astronauts.
I'm sure they probably brought some up there.
Ooh, you want me to read it?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Yes.
By the way, Google has integrated AI. Have you noticed this?
I'm trying not to notice it. I keep skipping that one like it's the ad.
It's the first one. It's the first one. It says AI overview.
Yeah, I skip that. I appreciate how it's visually different so that I can quickly skip it.
How different is it than from before?
I think it's probably less useful.
No, what I'm saying is like you search Google, isn't it not using AI technology to find your answer already before saying now this answer is brought to you by AI. It always has been.
What I want is Google to do my searches for me.
It is.
Yeah. Right now, go for it. All right, good.
Okay.
Let me know what you come up with later.
Let me read this. This is interesting.
Yeah. Bees in space.
Yes. The answer to that is yes. NASA has sent more than 3,500 bees into space on several missions, including the Space Shuttle Challenger and Columbia and the International Space Station. In 1982, Space Shuttle Columbia launched 14 adult honeybees and moths to test their flight capabilities. In 1984, the Space Shuttle Challenger launched the first bee into space along with 3,400 honeybees in a glass-windowed observation hive. Okay, so they took a hive up there to observe it. That's cool. Mm-hmm. 2013, students designed an experiment to study how alfalfa leafcutter bees react to zero or low gravity environments. They did that already in the 80s. Understanding how bees react to these environments can help plan for the future of agriculture on Earth and in space. Whoa.
I'm getting stuck thinking about bees in a vacuum, or they're breathing, but they don't have gravity, but they do have air, right? They're flying in space, and there's air somewhere
on this shuttle.
I know, but like, are the bees with the astronauts?
Not outside of the shuttle.
Are the bees in a vacuum?
No.
So isn't it just like being on Earth?
I see what you're saying.
Like, what exactly was the experiment?
Well, if we're gonna,
if they don't, do they? How does gravity affect bees? I guess that's my question. Does it matter? Do they even think about it?
Good point. Well, no, but we're not. Anyways,
I mean, sometimes they get on the flower upside down, and I'm like, I don't think he cares which direction gravity is pulling him. I'm just saying. That's the kind of thing I would be thinking about if I was a NASA.
You don't know.
You don't know. Astronaut.
Maybe they don't use their wings at all.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so wild.
Right?
They're just floating around, and the wings are just for cooking hornets. And
are you good, Pancake? You need anything? Anyways, let's talk about Matt.
Pancake.
Should we let her in for this last piece?
Pancake's trying to get in.
Let's see what happens.
All right. Here she comes. The pod dog. Come on, pod dog. There she is. All right.
We have a new guest with us today. We have Pancake, the annoying dog.
Pancake's scene change is Pancake is becoming less annoying.
She's the best.
So
Matt Hutchins
episode.
Camera operator inventor.
Called Training with the Right Stuff. was really cool.
Yeah.
And also, it was great talking with somebody in a different market, kind of getting a little bit different perspective.
At an Atlanta market.
Yeah.
What you meant, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he's worked in Florida quite a bit.
Oh, true.
Right? So,
true.
From Alabama originally, was it?
I think that's right.
Anyway, it was interesting to talk about a little bit about networking and learning how to operate on the job.
Yeah. Well, because I'm sure in a market like Florida, not Atlanta. Atlanta has plenty. Florida, I feel like you're probably being pushed into different positions all the time because the pool is smaller than LA, Atlanta, New York.
Yeah. Well, and you probably have to have a little bit more varied experience in general just to kind of like be able to take different types of gigs and different types of photography.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
oh yeah, yeah. You're probably working your experience is probably much wider than someone from Atlanta who only works in TV or narrative, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with all the trade shows and all the different like live productions that the music concerts, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I feel like that's a really great way to learn too, because you're dealing with so many variables. Like, the more unknowns, the better, right? Like if you're on a movie or a TV show that is trying to pull off a really deliberate specific shot or whatever, we're all working to make that happen versus your angle.
Yeah.
And you're one of 5 operators and you're trying to get something covered live or whatever. So, it's a good way to really push yourself and train. But Matt talks about his inventions a little bit too, right?
Yeah. A couple different inventions. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, the main one that we are featuring or talking about is the training wheels, I guess. Which
Hammerhead wheels.
Hammerhead wheels. And those are a tool for learning to operate the wheels, which I think we describe in that episode
we did.
What wheels are.
Yeah. We don't need to go through that again.
The benefit of using wheels over a joystick is actually kind of an interesting part of that.
Yeah.
Because you can use a joystick technically to do all that stuff, and drone operators, that's part of their skill set, right?
And we go through the different ways of training before the hammerhead wheels, which is throw a laser on the gear head and then follow a maze or a circle or whatever. But you don't get a real experience with that. You're not following a subject. You're not following a story.
Yeah.
And Matt has created a program that throws you into a virtual world with people or cars or even animals, and you can kind of choose what you want to follow and set your focal length and create a whole crane move and just practice that way, which is great. It's very cool.
Yeah.
We meant to show it to you. Still haven't shown it to you, Aaron. Sorry.
I know you've been keeping it from me.
I haven't. It's just I want to make a box. It's great. I have a set, and I want to make it into like a fully functional Pelican case with a monitor, and just pop it open, turn it on, and just practice and get some. Even I don't know. I've been toying with the idea of hosting a little get together at like a rental house.
You should do
coffee, donuts, and everyone gets 5 minutes on it, and then hang out.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea too, because it's that social component, like let's try something out of our skill set together. Let's fail together.
Yeah.
In a safe place. Let's find a way to make mistakes and then kind of learn from them and learn how to
and learn from each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You learn a lot when just watching somebody too.
Oh my gosh. Or just like the things that you wouldn't have thought of. And you see somebody do it and you go, oh, that's a better idea. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, Matt was, Matt's got a lot of great insights in terms of training and like what's important about like learning how to operate.
Yeah. And his prototype of the first set of wheels, which is attached to a mouse of some sort. You have to go listen to it, and he explains it a lot better. But it's like, what a rudimentary way of creating something, which is the whole purpose of a prototype, right? Just take the technology you have your hands on and then build from there.
I remember, like seeing a mouse that my dad had growing up that was, it was like a cue ball sitting on a thing, and it had the two wheels.
Oh.
One on one side, one on the other. So it was obviously
that's
tempting to pull that ball out and play with it. But I pulled the ball out and I could see these two wheels, and I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. And so when he talks about the mouse being his prototype, his first
makes sense
device that allowed him to do it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. It's just two axes that are being used to map a point.
Yeah.
And, it's not that complicated, but it is hard to wrap your head around it if you're not familiar with what's happening.
Yeah.
But I think he broke it down. Like, we talk about the Etch-a-Sketch, we talk about the mouse. Like, those concepts alone helped me understand the wheels in a new way, in a sense. Like, understand why you would want to use wheels in a new way, too. They're essentially two pieces of I don't know. It's like two rows connected. Two limits connected, and that creates a plane.
Yeah.
But it was cool talking with somebody who is unafraid to just pull something apart.
Yeah.
And just start figuring out how it works, and then not afraid to put it back together in a different way.
Yeah.
It's cool. You can tell when you're talking with somebody whose mind just works a little bit differently.
Yeah. And it is bold, because you're just like, I don't know. I think we're all a little afraid of rejection, right? So It's like when you make this thing, you're like, I made this thing. And you're like, if you saw the prototype, you saw this mouse contraption with the rubber bands, you'd look at it and be like, what are you doing?
Right.
But it's the beginning of an idea, and it turned into a solid product that he now sells, which does not look like rubber bands are holding it together, right? It looks like a legit thing.
Yeah, and you put a box around it for a reason, right? It's like some of these ideas, if you could see them in their infancy, they seem just silly, or they don't make any sense. But then once you see a final product, you're like, I don't understand it at all. Actually knowing like what's happening as it's changing, what you can do and how to solve it. Like, you have to be a visionary. You have to imagine something that you haven't seen or can't see right now, to do that.
Yeah.
And it's cool because that's part of operating too, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're here, but the shot is over there in the future in our imagination.
Yeah.
And we have to kind of get that shot.
Right. He built his first Steadicam too. I thought that was great. I did that too in college.
Did you?
It was not as.
Did you use a rollerblade wheel?
No, I didn't. That's when he said rollerblade wheel. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Why didn't I have a rollerblade wheel on mine? It was like PVC pipe and like washers, and it did not work.
But like, that's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about, because I know at the time when I would have wanted to do that as a teenager or something, I would have thought of a skateboard or a skate wheel as a wheel.
Right. Yeah. But if you turn it over on its side, it becomes a gimbal.
A bearing. It's all about the bearing, and it becomes a gimbal. It becomes I don't know.
A panning.
Something else.
A smooth pan bearing.
But like, in general, taking a wheel that's, generally meant, it's like, oh, that's a perfect tool.
Yeah.
Why would you change it? Oh, because I can use it as a gimbal.
Right. Yeah.
It's just exciting when people think that way,
Yeah.
Like, let me take the thing that is very much never going to be used for anything else.
Yeah.
This fence post would be really good as a computer.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. I like what he mentioned about his company being a little more boutique.
Yeah.
And I think any one of these companies or side businesses that we've talked about have all been boutique, right? Because it's like one or two people.
Right. But, and by the time it's not boutique, like they can afford to kind of, sell themselves somewhere else. And like, that's part of what's exciting about promoting new brands and small businesses.
But also I love the idea of a boutique business because they're just better. Like
they care a little bit more.
Like, yeah, they care about their product. Like their image, their name is on the line.
Yeah.
As opposed to a McDonald's hamburger, which is not going to compete against like Aaron's Smash Burger stand, right? Because Aaron's going to put so much thought and effort into making a really good hamburger.
Right.
And McDonald's has got this machine that's just pumping out hamburgers. Who's making them? We don't know. It's like there's no accountability there.
McDonald's is making them.
Mac McDonald.
No, I don't want to badmouth McDonald's anyway, but
no, I do like McDonald's.
Yeah, it tastes great. But I know what you mean. Like in a sense, if you are a big brand and you're trying to, make a product and find a customer or whatever, your ability to control all of that is so much greater. And what's exciting about these boutique businesses and exciting about kind of like the small business entrepreneur is the lack of options. In a way.
Yeah.
It's like the lack of ability to control your destiny.
Yeah.
You're like forced to be creative. You're forced constantly as a small business, as an entrepreneur, you're forced to solve problems that everyone else throws money at.
Yeah.
All the big brands just throw money at it. Yeah. Oh, we have a team of 1,000 layoff people for that. So, whereas an entrepreneur is like, well, I'm in my garage alone.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a little bit of that like scrappy, savvy, like we're going to make it happen. We're going to figure it out. Yeah. And we can't just send an email. We got to actually get this done.
Right. He mentions the pressure of like being thrown into a big crane shot, right?
Oh, I know.
And I think that was a Florida market time. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think he's talking about the TV show
Right Stuff.
The Right Stuff.
Yeah.
Not the movie, but the TV show.
Yeah.
And like a huge shot.
Yeah.
Like a big deal.
I mean, there's
all of a sudden the day player's doing or something.
Maybe
he wasn't day playing.
He said the operator had to leave for some reason, and he gave him the shot. But like, dude, take your opportunity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it can
be ready for it.
It can go one or two ways.
But like, how are you ready for that to kind of like show?
I love it.
Yeah, I can do it.
I love that.
I'm saying like you get ready by using
by his tool. Yeah, absolutely.
A tool like the Hammerhead wheels, you can actually be ready when that kind of story happens, and you're like, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Ma'am. Yeah. Let's do it.
I have one quick story about my kind of my take on that, or my experience in that position. And it was I was day playing on a show in Oklahoma City, and operator Jody Miller. No, I'm sorry. Jody Miller was the ACAM operator, but it was actually Cameron Duncan, the DP. He came up to me and goes, "How are you on the wheels?" And in my mind, I'm always a little over too critical about myself, right? Yeah. So I'm like, at some point you have to ease up on yourself and trust that what you know is acceptable.
Right.
So he, in my mind, I'm going, oh my gosh. Yes. The answer is yes. I know what I'm doing. It's rolling.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. I got a light over here. Oh. So Cameron Duncan is like, are you comfortable with the wheels? And I said, yeah. So I do this shot, and man, it was a lot harder than I anticipated. And it was the remote head on a dolly. Dolly starts low, and then it comes up high, and we're supposed to get this like neon sign in the corner of frame. Pretty particular about where that neon sign lands.
Yeah.
Well, as we're going up, I'm like, you have no point of reference with your wheels.
Mm-hmm.
you're trusting that the dolly is going to land that mark.
Yeah.
And I think the dolly grip was new. He was given an opportunity as well, and took a couple of takes. But it was such a learning opportunity for me, because I realized after like take number 4, where it wasn't perfect. I was getting it, but it wasn't perfect.
That there was nothing you could have done.
Well, I did. Well, I communicated. I sat there for a second, and Jody was coming up to me. You know, he's like, "Everything okay? Everything okay?" You know, and I'm like, "I'm doing it. Like I do it." And what it was is the thing that solved it was me going to the dolly grip and being like, "Get to your height before you land that last mark. I don't care. I don't care that we get that those 2 marks land at the exact same point. I care that we're at the height." So that I know when I'm in position that neon sign is going to be in that corner perfectly.
You need to arrive together, is what I've been told.
You have to arrive. Well, that's what we were trying. We were trying to arrive everything with the turning of the wheels, the pushing of the dolly, and the booming of the dolly.
Yeah.
And I just told him, make sure that boom is at the height before we get to the end of the track.
Yeah.
Because if I know that I'm at the height, then I know my wheel position is going to be good.
Yeah.
And we're good. And that solved it. It solved it. And I was just like, okay, I'm tucking that one away.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in this situation again, it's going to,
Well, yeah, in that scenario, you're doing the same thing. The dolly grip is probably doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it's not working because you have to understand why it's not working so that you can correct the thing that is consistently happening the wrong way or whatever. Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to figure out why it's not working.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's so much easier when you're just sitting at a monitor watching somebody else fail. You can kind of be like, oh, it's probably this or that or the other thing. Whereas when you're in the middle of it, you're going, yeah, I know it's probably this, that, or the other thing, but I can't fix all those things and try them all really quick.
Right.
I need to imagine the solution so that I can reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
And then apply those things. But that's honestly like a cool way to figure it out, because all of those little beats matter so much.
Yeah.
And if it works, you don't realize like how well, okay, now we want to change the shot slightly. We want to do it this way. We want to do it that way. You have to make all of those new versions as successful. And if you were lucky on the first one, you're not going to be able to get to all these other versions.
That's true.
So it's important to go through what you did.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh gosh, how do I figure out what's not working?
Yeah. Well, and I'm also grateful that those people entrusted me.
Yeah.
And let me figure it out. Even though I just gave them the answer that I was like, yeah, I got it.
Right. Yeah. Well, you have to have confidence, right?
They knew.
Oh yeah, I got it. I got it.
All right. Well, check out those 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Christina Lechuga, A Flare of Coiled Colors, Tyler Dubrow, Striking a Beeline, and Matt Hutchins, Training with the Right Stuff. All good. I'm always very happy with all of these interviews.
Yeah, they've been really, really interesting and exciting, and we're learning a lot as we go. So we're having fun.
Yeah. And thank you, Pancake, for joining us on this podcast, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Aaron, you want to get some lunch?
Yeah, let's get some lunch.
Let's do it. All right.
Bye.
Bye.